Welcome to week 3 of Breaking Adrift. So we've already looked at the awareness of it, noticing when you're stuck, noticing when you are kind of going back to past behaviours. You're a little bit, I kind of likened it to a little bit like treading water. When your nervous system wants to kind of keep you safe, but there's no progression in that. Looking at the interruption of it, how do you notice it? What do you do? So we looked at it through the nervous system lens again, and like somatically what we need to do. This one is about taking radical responsibility, so owning up to your part in it. And this probably is the bit that's going to really sting. The shame cycle can get triggered when, when we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. This is more than that. That's like around the awareness. This is about actually taking radical responsibility for our part in it. So, the purpose of this session is helping you see that the adrift, the avoidance, the blame are all ways of abandoning your responsibility. When we offload our responsibility onto somebody else, that's us becoming a victim. That's us expecting somebody else to change to make us feel better. So by the end of this session, you'll understand that responsibility is not blame. It's not blaming other people. It's the path back to taking, it's being empowered. It's going from disempowered to empowered. Integrity, self-respect. So let's have a chat about responsibility. So a lot of people that I work with think responsibility means carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, fixing everything, doing it all, holding everyone together. That's not responsibility, that's control. That's fear. That's survival. So imagine it like the fear of not having control. Being okay with uncertainty, being okay with letting others in. That's not responsibility. So real responsibility starts when you stop outsourcing your power to other people, to your past, to your emotions, to your ADHD, to the trauma, to your neurodiversity, to your circumstance. Because here's the truth. Every time you say, I can't because, you drift. Every time you blame someone else, you hand over your agency. So this responsibility is about having agency, isn't it? Every time you collapse into guilt or shame, you step out of leadership. So today isn't about beating yourself up, it's about taking back your power. So there was a point in my life not that long ago when I blamed everyone else for how I felt. I blamed my parents for my upbringing. I blamed my circumstances. I blamed having complex PTSD. I blamed my situation, my relationships, my ADHD, my triggers, other people. I was world class at blaming others. If something went wrong, I had a reason why it went wrong. I got angry. I was justified in that. If I avoided something, it was because they made it hard. I was caught up in this being a victim, disempowered. Then one day someone said to me, Gary, you might not be to blame for what happened to you, but you're responsible for what you do next. What part of you played in all of this? That hit really hard. Like, that's the point when you have to stand in front of the mirror and look at the part that you played in this. I'm gonna just let that sink in, because that is hard. It's hard to stand in front of the mirror and look at your part in it. But here's the thing, until you start to look in the mirror, until you start to take radical responsibility, nothing is going to change. You will continually keep blaming other people, or blaming the circumstance, or blaming this, or blaming that. I see it all the time. I speak to men all the time that will want to blame a situation. I spoke to somebody the other day that wouldn't take responsibility themselves, and they yet blamed the NHS for not giving them the services that they like felt justified that they were entitled to. Such an entitled place to be, where the NHS are not doing what they said what they should be doing. So take some fucking responsibility for it then, and do it yourself. I am literally offering you the opportunity. I speak to people and say, like, book a free call with me, and they won't even click on the link to book it. Think about that. All you've got to do is click on a link and book a slot, and they won't even do that. I get it. I've been there. I absolutely do get it. So responsibility didn't mean guilt, it means choice. When I started to take ownership, things changed massively. Not overnight, but consistently. With being regulated, taking responsibility for my emotions, not blaming my partner or blaming other people for me blowing up. Respect for myself started to grow. Turning up, consistent, doing what I said I was going to do. It is life-changing. When you can get to that point, it is absolutely life-changing. So I want to speak to you about the mechanics of avoidance, like the cycle of it. Because when you're drifting, you are avoiding something. Whether it's an emotion, whether it's because it's the discomfort, whether it's the truth, whether it's the risk. Avoidance is just the nervous system's way of saying, I don't feel safe enough to deal with this. So my question to you is, okay, so what can we deal with? So the loop is that you get triggered. Something feels uncomfortable, whether it's a person, a situation, or whatever that might be. Then you react to it. You either mask it with anger, humour, control, shutdown, being independent, avoidance, whatever that might look like. Then this is what happens. You justify it by attaching a story or a narrative to it to suit it. It's just my ADHD. I'm tired. I hear this one a lot. I'm too busy. Too busy to prioritise yourself. Oh, it's selfish. Then you're the guilt because you don't do what you say you're going to do, and you can see you're letting people down. So you feel bad later. And then you make that promise again, don't you? You say next time will be different. and then it happens again. So breaking the loop requires ownership. Responsibility means saying I can't control the trigger, but I can control my response to it. Ownership is reclaiming the gap between what happens and how you show up. When you take full responsibility for your energy, your choices, your reactions, you stop being a passenger in your own life. So I want to go through a somatic exercise. So we're going to try and shift from blame to ownership. So I want you to sit, I want you to get comfortable in your seat. I want you to place both feet on the floor and push yourself into the back of the chair. And then I just want you to drop into your body for a minute. Come out of your head and drop into your body. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in through your nose and then out through your mouth. Repeat that a few times. Then I want you to think of a situation where you've been blaming someone else or something recently. Maybe a partner, a boss, a diagnosis, or yourself. Think about it. I want you to visualize it. Feel what happens in your body when you think about that. Where's the tension? What happens? Tightness, heat, breath shortens, maybe a little bit of fear, anxiety. What's the emotion underneath the story? What are you experiencing? Try and stay with this. I know this is difficult. Now shift the question. Instead of why did they do that, ask what's my responsibility here? What's my part in this? Notice what changes in your body when you move from blame to ownership. Does the energy move? Do you feel more grounded? What happens? Journal on it. That's what agency feels like. That's the nervous system remembering choice. Okay, so I've got some questions here for you to reflect on. Where in your life are you still blaming someone or someone else for how you feel? What's the story you keep telling to avoid taking responsibility? What emotionally are you protecting yourself from when you blame? Maybe shame, guilt, sadness. If you took full ownership of the situation, what would change immediately? Your part in it. So one of the things for me is like blowing up all the time, having no capacity. So I stopped drinking. It was a major contribution to it. How does your body respond when you shift from blame to responsibility? What's one area of your life where you've been waiting for someone else to change, and what could you do instead? I have this a lot. People wanting a situation or somebody else to change before they will change. Well, if they did that, then I wouldn't feel this. Fuck that. What can you do in it? And I'm not condoning shitty behaviour here, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just talking like everyday stuff. What does responsibility actually look like for you day to day? In your energy, your relationships, your focus. So we talk a lot about intention. What would it mean for you to live as the man who always chooses responsibility over reactivity? So this week's challenge is really simple but powerful. I want you to spot the drift into blame or avoidance and interrupt it. Every time you catch yourself saying because of them or I can't because, stop. Ask, what's my responsibility here? What action can I take right now even if it's uncomfortable? This is the week you stop handling your power away. You're not responsible for everything that happened to you, but you are 100% responsible for what you do next. That's how you end the drift and start to lead. So most men think leadership is about control. It's not. It's about ownership. When you stop blaming and start building, when you stop hiding and start healing, when you stop drifting, you start leading. So this week, don't focus on being perfect, focus on being responsible. Because the person who owns his life owns his future. Thank you very much.